Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am so excited to have you back here for another video. This is a topic that was actually recommended to me in the comments. So like I said, if you recommend videos to me, I will make them. Thank you so much, Desaya, for giving me the suggestion to do a video today on the basics of email campaign copywriting. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I think to start out, this isn't something where I need to teach you any new massive way of writing. You know how to write. This is a skill that you already have that you just kind of need to tweak and figure out how that fits into email marketing. But it's not something that is crazy over your head or difficult to learn. This is quite simple. I hope that this goes without saying, but the very first thing I'm going to say before I even go into any of my points is that when you're creating an email campaign, you always want to write an outline before you get into the design process. So you don't want to just start designing this email and then figuring out where the copywriting is going in between. You always want to start with an outline, very basic, just a Word document, and figure out all of the copywriting for the email, kind of lay out the structure, and then enter the design process. Let's get into the actual theory and strategy behind creating really incredible email campaigns and the copywriting that goes into doing exactly that. The first is something that you hear all the time with marketing, but it's know your target audience. It's so basic, but it's so obvious. And I think it's so important when you're taking on a new client to really research that brand and figure out who is actually buying those products. Research is your best friend with stuff like this because you want to know what other brands that kind of demographic is buying. Like, what are the emails from those brands saying to those people? You don't want to just copy whatever they're saying because you also want your brand to have a very specific tone that will be, synonymous with your own branding. But you do want to research those other brands and how they're communicating their marketing to those target customers that are the same as yours so that you can kind of pull elements and figure out what's working for them, what could work for you, and incorporate that into your own email copywriting. But it goes beyond just researching other brands. You also, like I said, want to research the specific audience. So what are their interests? What are their pain points? And how can you solve those specific pain points? Where do they live? How old are they? Things like that are going to inform your copywriting and make a world of difference in really honing in on what sells to that specific customer. Our second point, which might seem a little counterintuitive for a video all about email copywriting, is have as little copy as possible. That sounds crazy, I know, but what I've seen with the trend of email marketing since I've started in this field has been progressively less text and saying the most with that least amount of text. There used to be so much longer copy in emails, but right now, people have such short attention spans. Most of them are looking on their phones. You need a quick kind of dialogue with them. You still want a full dialogue because this is a really intimate channel to connect with the consumer. But how can you craft the copy in your email to say the most with the smallest amount of copy? Your middle paragraph, maybe it's 3 sentences, but you're really getting your message across. Maybe you have bulleted point messaging with 1 sentence per bullet point. So it all comes down to simplicity and clarity and packing a punch with the least amount of text. My next point would be use your copy to connect with the consumer rather than just trying to sell to them. As I just mentioned, email marketing is where you get to establish the most intimate connection. You don't get this kind of connection in Facebook ads. You don't get this with influencer marketing. You don't get this with your Instagram. When you're in someone's inbox, you're opening a conversation with them, and that is a big responsibility. And you need to be able to converse with them instead of just speaking at them. You want to speak with them. So let's say that you have a home goods brand and you're just about to start a sale. You don't want to say in the email header the sale starts today. You want to say take advantage of this sale and transform your home today. Not only are you speaking with them and saying, hey, you should jump on this because, hey, you wanted to redo that one room and now it's your chance, you've got this sale. You're using the word you. You're speaking with them. Versus the first sentence, our sale starts today. I'm not having a conversation with you. I'm not bringing your home into the conversation. All I'm saying is, hey, our sale starts today. That's not compelling at all. So you, again, act like you're speaking to someone you care about, because you should care about all of your customers very deeply, even though you don't know them. And figure out how you can, bring them into the sale, because this sale is going to be good for them, versus just doing your job and letting people know that a sale is starting. The whole thing with email copywriting, I guess copywriting in general, is we're trying to sell to them without selling to them explicitly. So you're constantly having a conversation with them. I actually have an example from a past video that I filmed that I think is still really good to bring up. If you have a skincare brand and you want to sell a new foundation, you can craft an email about, 3 ways that you can apply your foundation that we recommend. It could be a brush, a sponge, and a finger. And it can be a whole how-to email that lightly then at the end of the email will sell to them your foundation. Maybe you're selling a brush and a sponge. You can add those in. And it's an email helping them out with their makeup routine. But you're also slipping in, hey, we've got these products that while you're doing your foundation, these ones are the best ones to use. Also, another thing in the realm of connecting with the consumer, this should be pretty obvious by now, but don't use big words. Don't use run-on sentences. You want to connect. You don't want to impress. Obviously you kind of want to impress, but the whole thing is about connecting. And so you don't need to seem like you're on some high horse or explaining to them all this stuff. You want to just be like talking to a friend. My next point is ask questions. You would not believe how much asking questions in an email, whether it's the subject line or the header text, how much that draws a person in. I've seen such a boost in the engagement with the emails that I write when I just incorporate questions. Not all the time, but it's a good thing to work into your copy. So I have a few examples of what this might look like. Let's say that you have some educational or school supply company and it is August. You could write in the subject line for the email, are you ready for back to school season? It brings them in right away, and it gets them thinking oh shoot, do I still have to shop for that? Or am I ready? And it intrigues them to open the email. Now let's go back to a skincare company example. You're selling a moisturizer. How about you open your email with the header text of, do you struggle with dry skin? It's simple. It's intriguing. I have drier skin, so I would read that header and be like, yeah, actually I do. And let me scroll down and see, what they're saying about it and what I can maybe do to help it. And then that's where obviously in that email you're talking about your moisturizer and how you can solve their dry skin issues. The next is call to actions. This is hugely important because the call to actions are what will prompt them to visit your website, to shop. And that button is that call to action. Call to action is shop now, explore more, elements below, product features. And so this might seem like more simple copywriting because you see a lot of brands just saying shop now. But the interesting thing about call to action copywriting is that you want to explore a bunch of different kinds of call to actions and figure out what works most with your audience and what they respond to. If you have an email with 2 separate buttons just saying shop now, that is boring. That is boring. So that first example, take advantage of our sale and transform your home today. Let's say you do your first button as shop now or shop the sale. Then, you can do another one at the bottom saying up level my home or take me there. There's so many things that you can use in terms of calls to action that are very interesting. And I encourage you to explore that area because a lot of brands will just use shop now. And they're the ones not getting as many people clicking into the website. If you want to make your marketing more effective, focus on your calls to action. The next point is going to be add value. Add value. We've touched on it a little bit with me talking about that email where, if you're selling a foundation, you give them 3 different ways that you recommend applying your foundation, right? That is giving them value. It's a whole explainer email that you're then subtly selling your foundation with. Also, as I mentioned before, the inbox is an intimate place. You are so lucky to have this person who has subscribed to your emails. It is not something to take lightly, and it's not something to abuse. You can't just go into people's inboxes because you know you have to send out an email that day. How can you provide value for them? And that value is going to build trust and build relationships and, cha-ching, drive sales. So much of sales is just relationship building. Whether it's being a person who calls people and does cold call sales, or someone who's doing life cycle marketing and sending emails or text messages. The relationship and the trust is the most important asset that you have, and if you don't protect that and take care of that, you're not being the most competitive that you can be with your brand. And so always provide value. Really figure out the pain points of your audience and how you can explain things to them that you are at a place of authority from because of your brand's expertise, and how can you transform their lives and help them. Always provide value. It just sounded like I lectured you a lot, but I'm so passionate about that point in particular. If you don't get people to open your emails, then who cares about the copywriting inside the emails? You need people to click into your emails. So having effective subject lines and preview text is so important. The subject line is the first thing that you see when an email is like in your inbox, and then the preview text will be like the less obvious text next to it in your inbox. I always like to have the subject line and preview text kind of correspond with each other. Again, you can use questions here. I am a big fan of good emoji use, but also you have to make sure that the emoji use is on brand with the tone of voice of your brand, and also just is important for copywriting. Yes, emoji use comes into copywriting. How crazy is that? But it's true. You want your subject line to jump out and, be more obvious than all the ones around you. So talking to them, starting that conversation before they've even clicked into the email, saying something that's extremely engaging and intriguing them to click on your email. I will add some examples here to kind of show what I mean by that, because it's something that I can explain it, but it's better kind of for you to probably see what that looks like. And next is something that I go on about all the time as well. Test. Test and tweak and A/B test and split test. I mean, you just need to test. And so what does this mean? If you want to figure out certain changes or adjustments in your copy or tone, try sending out an email with slightly different subject lines or slightly different body text, and you can just A/B test that in Klaviyo. Super easy to do. Let's say that you want to send version A to 20% of your email list and version B to another 20%. You'll set a certain amount of hours. Let's say you choose 5 hours. And over that 5-hour period, Klaviyo will be taking account of how many people are clicking or opening the email, whatever metric you set it on. If it's like a subject line A/B test, you'll want to track open rate. But if you are, changing text within the email, you want to track click-through rate. After that A/B test is done running for 5 hours, it will assess which is the winning version and send that winning version to the rest of your list. And then you can go back in and look at the winning version and see what you did in that email that was different than the other one and how you can implement that sort of style into the upcoming ones. But testing comes in all forms, testing your copywriting, testing your design. It is so important, because if you just decide that you're gonna write a certain way and you never question that or evaluate it or try and update it, then also you're not doing a great job as a consultant, because your job is to keep things fresh and cool and exciting for that brand. That is everything that I have on my list for the basic principles. I think, again, it's not like I have to teach you to write. You know how to write, and we all read emails all the time. I would really recommend just go on milled.com or reallygoodemails.com and just pour through different email examples. I would stick to established brands, because that probably what they're doing is good and going through a lot of testing. I think copywriting might sound difficult or something that would take marketing training, but let me tell you, a lot of marketing you can self-teach. It's not that hard. You just have to be able to put in the work to niche down and do all of the right strategic things. But in terms of the actual writing, you have those tools right now. So it just goes back to the strategy side of things. Like I said, these are things that I use every day and things that have immensely helped me serve my clients better. And I hope that I can do that for you. So thank you so much for watching another video. I love you guys so much. And please always let me know if there are other topics that I can cover for you. I've had a lot of new subscribers lately, and I just want to get to know you guys. So anyway, I love you again, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.